Next up, I think we're going to take a look at the motor. See, now you can hear the rattling fan inside it. Not so healthy sounding. So let's pop it off. Alright. Start off by removing the wobbly pulley. Or at least by trying to remove the wobbly pulley. There it is. Shaft is somewhat marred up, and pulley wheel, the hole in the pulley appears to be a little bit hogged out. We may have to put some shim stock in there. Oh well, deal with that another day. Let's just get the motor off of the mounting bracket here, so we can remove this front cover and access the fan. It appears just to be held in by these two clamps. There we are. Big beast that it is. Alright, and then a couple 3/8 nuts, and hopefully we'll be in. I'm shocked at how easily this is coming apart. Okay, let's see what the issue here is. Oh. Well, there are a pair of, well, let's see if I can show you here. This appears to be a very nice and easy fix. You can see here is the plastic fan, and you can see it has a set screw here, as well as one here, so two set screws. Neither of them appear to be tight, so the fan's just freewheeling. So if I tighten those up, I'll bet you it works just fine. That's all it is. I thought for sure this would be smashed or broken, or something would have gotten stuck inside and broken the fan, or all the fins off or something. The trick, however, will be going to find the small enough Allen key. I shall return. Alright, let's just give this a snug up and see if it solves the issue. Be thrilled if that's all it was. The pair of loose Allen keys, no idea how they would have gotten loose, but I suppose, 40 years of vibration will do that. I've watched them be some weird metric size that no one's ever heard of. Oh, no, that fits. Good. Otherwise that would have been quite irritating. So, I'm not quite sure how, obviously it's not supposed to rub. I guess we'll just space it out a little bit to where it looks like it used to. I can see a bit of a shiny shoulder here where it looks like it used to sit. So, just tighten these up. It almost looks like someone, purposefully loosened the maw. And this one appears to be a different size as well. Isn't that odd? No, has it just been damaged? Or perhaps rounded out? That could be as well. I can't seem to get my Allen key in there. I'll bring you back when I get this in. So what I ended up doing here, now that you can see it in the shadows casted by this stupid light that I'm working in, but is I took the Allen key and I tapped it with another screwdriver until it's set into the screw here. I'll need a pair of pliers to pop it out, but either way it allowed me to tighten up the screw. So now giving it a spin, it's nice and tight on the shaft. It's not perfectly true, it wobbles ever so slightly, but it doesn't really matter. It's a plastic fan, you're not going to notice any vibration from that. And it is, well, 100% fixed. Talk about a nice repair. I thought for sure this would be smashed and broken. But hey, alright, let's button this thing back together. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to move it up the shaft a little bit. There's some adjustment side to side on the table saw mount itself. Move it up a bit to an area of the shaft that's not damaged here. And we'll see if we can get this to run a little truer. Oh, that's much better. Cinch that down. Yeah, I'll show you here. Look at the pulley. Give it a spin. Very, very little now. It's much. It's not 100% true, but it's very, very close. This has gone much better than I would have hoped. Could have hoped, I should say. Next up, let's tackle what's left of the wiring on here and get it ready for the new wires. I'll show you why I chose to rewire this. You can see here the broken armor on the BX cable ate through the neutral wire and the ground wire. So there was a fairly good chance, if you weren't using this on a GFCI circuit, the whole housing could have become electrified. Nasty shock hazard, this. Alright. I had previously removed the ground wire there, it wasn't loose. Like that. It appears there's a couple of nuts that hold these on. Grab a deep socket to get them off. It seems that the nuts that hold this in are 11/32. Okay, well, it's a good thing that we're in here. Not only because of the wiring issue I showed you earlier with the exposed wires, but it seems that this wasn't even snug. Probably just over time loosened off, but still, not really ideal. Alright, let's get this BX connector out of there. I don't seem to have a box-ended wrench big enough to fit this stupid thing. I'll just have to take it off like that. I've never actually seen a BX connector quite like that. The BX just threads onto it. Very interesting. Now, I'll have to see if I have something that'll thread in there that'll accept the cab tire that we put on the switch. So not quite what I was after, but it should work. This is actually a BX connector for attaching a BX to a box, hence BX connector. You know, electricians are clever that way. However, it should do just fine. It'll clamp down on the outside of the cab tire. There's no sharp edges in it that'll dig into the insulation at all. So I see no issue with using this. So we'll just thread it into the hole there. There is one small issue. It's too deep. It hits the insulator inside the motor, so we'll have to make up some sort of spacer for this. So I managed to find the lock ring that actually goes to this, so we'll just thread that on there, and that gives us a good, 1/8 of an inch spacer. So it'll still let this thread in, but not nearly as far. Just like that. So now, when we put it on the table saw, we just have to thread our wires in there and connect them to the nuts, or to the little posts. No big deal. So in preparation for mounting this back on the saw, we're going to, of course, put the bracket back on. And it just sat in there, like so. Now I think we're going to clock it a little bit, right to about there. Just make sure that's on the right way. The bracket is actually not quite symmetrical. It's a good thing I checked, because that's actually backwards of how it should be. You can see that one side is longer than the other. So it goes the other way around on this saw. Right like that. So let's get our two clamps that we took off earlier, these guys. Enjoy the nice shadow that my excellent lighting casts on whatever I'm doing today. And we'll cinch this up. Of course, that's going to get right in the way let's see, how do I want this? going to be sitting flat. Actually, just like that would probably be okay. Just trying to orient it so that this screw isn't in the way of my little wiring door here, little access panel. That should be okay. This one, of course, doesn't matter because there's nothing to interfere with on this side. Okay, we can now get this back onto the saw. So you can see here the bracket that the motor hangs on. This is the whip we installed earlier for the that comes off of the switch for the motor. So the motor just attaches like so, using a set of 4 bolts. Fairly simplistic arrangement, really. And then since the holes the bolts go through are slotted, it allows for left to right alignment of the belt. So now by eye, I'm just going to line up the pulley inside the motor here, left to right. Seems to be the leftmost position that puts it where it needs to be. So now we're going to cinch it up. I'm going to start with this inboard. It allows for some back and forth adjustment. I assume you get some more life out of the belt once you're too far past its range of adjustment. These are fairly simplistic in that they just use the weight of the motor to tension the belt. It's nice in that it means it's automatically adjusting, really. So now I'm going to get a new belt for it. As you can see, this one has been sitting for a long time in one position, which is why it's bowed like that. The problem with this is not that it won't work, because it will, but because it's assumed this shape, it'll naturally want to tighten up as it stretches this way and then comes back around and snaps into this shape again. It'll cause the motor to bounce a bit and vibrate, which is more of an annoyance, really, but it also creates a lot of noise. So for the $5 or $10 a new belt costs, it's probably not a bad idea. But let's just see where we are. So we're not too bad. I feel the motor can be adjusted in a little more on this side to get it square with where I would like it to be, and to compensate for some of the slop in the mechanism here. So after a little bit of fiddling, I've managed to get it square as I can. It was made easier by the fact that before I removed this motor from the saw, when I got it, I scribed along the edge to show where it had been previously. That allowed me to get a lot closer initially, and then it allowed for me a little fine adjustment to where I think it needed to be. Next up, we wire in the motor. So I skipped filming me wiring the last little bit into the cover here. It was tedious and quite a pain in the ass, as well as the final adjustments I made here to get the spacing between the motor and the frame correct so that it had the full range of motion necessary for raising and lowering the blade. But I figured I would share the first startup with you, because those are always fun. We get to see if it shorts out and blows up in my face or whatever else happens to happen. So let's see. Just plug her in here. Well, I'm going to call that a success. It's much, much quieter than it was when I started. The little bit of noise that is left, I feel is definitely due to the belt, causing a lot of vibration. I'm sure you saw how the motor was bouncing as the motor went in and out of the shape that it had assumed just from sitting so long. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this. For $30, I think I did alright.